When was the last time you looked at your savings or investments and asked yourself a simple but powerful question? How will I know when everything is about to change? I don't mean the little ups and downs that come and go, or the temporary excitement of a hot tip that pops and fades. I mean the moment when your money starts working harder than you ever imagined, when compounding shifts gears and quietly goes from steady to unstoppable. Most people miss the signs because they aren't loud. They don't flash in neon. They arrive like the smell of rain before a storm or a faint tremor before a wave. If you learn to recognize them, you'll know you're close. The first sign is counterintuitive. It feels boring. In the beginning, every dollar is dramatic. You add a bit, stare at the chart, celebrate a tiny green day, panic at a tiny red one. The numbers are small, so the emotions are big. But then something changes. The account stops feeling like a casino and starts feeling like background noise. The line inches up, slow and steady, without fireworks, and you start wondering if anything is even happening. That's the point. Compounding at full strength isn't a roller coaster. It's a snowball rolling downhill. Quiet, heavy, and harder to stop every hour it moves. The boredom is the root system spreading under the soil. You can't see it, but you'll harvest because of it. The second sign is the flip. At first, you carry the whole project on your back. Contributions do the heavy lifting, while growth barely whispers. Then one day the whisper speaks up. Your monthly return exceeds your monthly deposit. You put in 500, the account grows by 6. That's the turning point. Your dollars have hired their own workers, dividends reinvested, interest compounding, gains compounding on gains, and their output surpasses yours. From here, the math gets weird in the best way, because once your money outruns your contributions, time becomes the throttle and the curve begins to bend. Which leads to the third sign. You stop obsessing over adding more and start obsessing over waiting longer. In the early days, you think, if I could just save twice as much, I'd get there faster. Later, you realize that leaving the snowball alone is often more powerful than pushing it harder. Time starts to matter more than money. You begin to prefer steady deposits you can keep for decades over heroic spurts that you'll cancel in 6 months. You stop interrupting the process. You build a schedule you can respect even on bad days, because the calendar is doing more work than your willpower. When this shift settles in, the curve is already bending. You just haven't noticed how hard yet. Then a mindset transformation sneaks up on you. Dips stop scaring you and start exciting you. Early on, a red day feels like a personal insult. Later, after you've seen cycles come and go, you recognize a sale when you see one. Headlines scream panic. You quietly add more units at better prices. You don't root for pain, but you understand how it sharpens your future returns. That emotional reversal, fear into opportunity, adds rocket fuel to everything that follows, because it keeps you in the game exactly when most people step out. Soon the growth stops being abstract and starts paying for real life. At first it buys a sandwich, then a tank of gas. Then, almost without fanfare, it covers a recurring bill. Maybe your investments spin off $1,000 a month and your rent is effectively handled. That's not just money, that's breathing room. Your decisions change when compounding pays for a chunk of your life. You choose projects you care about. You say yes and no for better reasons. The snowball has enough mass to carry responsibilities on its back, and it rarely shrinks from there if you keep feeding it. And then comes the sign that always makes me smile. Your money begins to outrun your goals. You set milestones that once looked like mountains, 10,000, 100,000, $250,000, and you expect the long climb. But compounding loves to embarrass your timelines once it gathers speed. You check in one morning and realize you're ahead of schedule by years. That's when people message me with disbelief, and I tell them the same thing. You didn't get lucky, you got consistent. If you recognize this in yourself, celebrate. You just crossed the invisible line where progress feels like it's happening to you rather than only because of you. That's the moment many of you have been waiting for without knowing it. Eventually, the questions you ask about money change entirely. Survival fades into strategy, and strategy matures into legacy. When your portfolio becomes larger than your near-term needs, your thinking stretches beyond this month, this year, even your own lifetime. You start asking what kind of impact you want to leave, which causes you want to support, which people you want to empower. The scoreboard turns into a blueprint. You're planting trees whose shade you might never sit under, and that realization is strangely calm, not euphoric. It feels like a responsibility you're ready to carry. Now take a second and check where you are. Are you still in the phase where every bump rattles you, Or are you beginning to welcome discounts? Does the account still feel like a game, or has it softened into quiet routine? Are you covering small extras, or is growth paying for entire slices of your life? Are your goals sprinting ahead of you, or are you noticing your balance sneaking past them? There's no shame in any stage. The only real mistake is quitting during the boring part or bailing in the scary part, because the bend in the curve is always closer than it looks when you keep going. If you want to accelerate the journey, increase the gap between what you earn and what you spend, and channel that gap into assets you can leave alone. That might mean building a small side income or finally starting the creative project you've been putting off. I've watched ordinary people speed this up by launching faceless channels, using systems that are simple and repeatable. When you add fresh fuel to a compounding engine that's already rolling, the timeline compresses fast. So here's my invitation. If this resonated, drop a like and tell me in the comments which sign you've spotted in your life. If you've made it this far, it probably means the process is already working on you. Keep going. Keep it boring when it's supposed to be boring. Stay calm when the screen turns red. Protect your time horizon like it's the most valuable asset you own. Because it is. One morning you'll wake up, look at the numbers, and realize the explosion didn't happen overnight. It happened quietly, day after day, while you were busy living. And that's the best kind of surprise. Quick reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is educational only. Your results depend on your decisions and your discipline. But if you watch for the signals and stay the course, compounding won't just change your money. It'll change your freedom, your options, and your future. Thanks for watching InvestingFlix, where smart money learns smarter moves. Subscribe for more insights that grow your wealth.